I've begun this exercise by dividing a 6-inch square into quadrants, just like this. I'm using the Clarity ruler foot by Accents in Design, along with their 6-inch straight edge ruler. The first thing I'm going to do is stitch around the entire square. And because it's so easy to see through this foot, you know exactly where you're at. So I'm going to place the ruler against the drawn line, 1/4 inch away, and it's so easy to handle this ruler, it's easy to move it. So although the ruler is not as long as the drawn line is when I'm working, I can just slide it right down or just pick it up and move it to get to the rest of the line without any interference in my line stitching at all. The next step is to start stitching the diagonal line that runs through the square, but stop where the triangle begins. Now let's stitch around that triangle. Now we're going to adjust our ruler so that we have a little bit of an angle in that triangle, and it almost looks like a Star Trek symbol. But this is going to just give us a little design element inside that corner. So let's do another line through there, a little bit away from the first one that we did. Go back down to the corner. Now we want to stitch the rest of that diagonal line in the middle. So let's go back up and connect to where we started and do one more diagonal line in our triangle so that we end up back on the original diagonal line again, right there. Now we can finish that diagonal line without any break in our stitches. The next thing that we're going to do is to make a 1/2 inch frame all around the L section that's left in this triangular area. And we do that by pasting the first line, or the 1/4 inch line on the ruler, on our previous stitching line. That 1/4 inch line together with the 1/4 inch from the foot to the needle will give us our 1/2 inch stitching line. Now let's stitch on up and let's do another 1/2 inch line so that we have 1/2 inch borders framing this section. Now if you haven't gone far enough, it's not a problem. As long as you have your needle in the down position, you can always go back and adjust. So now we have the 1/2 inch marks. Now let's finish the center of the first little triangle. So we're going to stitch down to the center and we're going to do a little feather treatment in here. And I'm using the bump back feathers to fill this in. Now let's go to the other side and do the same thing. You'll notice I didn't have to remove the foot and put on a different foot to do my free motion work. This Clarity foot makes it so easy to see that you could go from ruler work straight into design free motion work without having to stop and change. Now this design is a large circle with a small circle, and it alternates the small circle from the top and then to the bottom all the way through the border. Now of course you can use any design, any filler design that you like in here, but this is a nice pattern to try out. This is also a true test of this foot and the clarity that you have. When you're doing circles, do you notice how I'm backtracking? If I couldn't see as well as I can through this foot, this would be impossible, and I would have had to change feet. Now we'll pick back up on the speed so we can move on. Now let's get set up for the next part of the design by stitching over to the center of the block again and back down that marked line. Now we're going to do some more ruler work, and you'll notice throughout this exercise that I keep moving the design around or the fabric around so that you get a better view. But basically I'm putting the first line of the ruler on the previous stitch line, and I'm going forward and backwards to make the line a little bit bolder. And I'm going to repeat this up and down stitching until the area is filled. Now the nice thing about this foot is it is so clear that you can tell exactly where you're at. You can see the line so that you know you're precisely on the line before you back up again. That's something you cannot do with a metal foot. It also allows me to stitch on all sides of the foot. I'm almost completely to the back of the foot at this point, and I'm not having a problem. The beauty of the foot is that I can, now I've got it totally in the back of that foot, and I have no problem at all with clearance. So again, I'm going to continue on by placing that first line on the previous stitch line and continue on with my raise. I am not changing position of the ruler in the corner, only as I reach the diagonal middle line. If you look very closely while I'm stitching backwards, you can actually see the stitching through that foot. That's the clarity that you get with the clarity foot. It's wonderful. Now let's get set up for the last section of this block. So I'm going to back up and then stitch down the whole diagonal line again to make it a little bit bolder. And now we're going to do another one of those 1/2 inch frames. Again, we're going to put the ruler so that the first line is on the stitching line and stitch around. Now let's do another 1/2 inch frame. I'll turn this around so you can see better. So we've got the line of the ruler on our line of stitching. Now you've seen this stitch in the back. You see it now stitching on the right side of the foot. You now see it stitching on the left side of the foot. And we've stitched on the front of the foot as well. Again, we can do free motion quilting without having to remove the ruler foot and have no problems whatsoever with the visibility. I can see where I'm hitting the lines just as well with this foot as if I had an open toe on. It gets an A+ in my book for that feature. Now that we've filled in that section, let's fill in this little triangle that remains at the bottom of the triangles. And again, do you see how I'm able to hit that line each time? That's fantastic. So that was quite a workout for our Clarity ruler foot, and I think it got an A+ all the way around.